You're watching First Alert 7 News at 9 on the CW and live on YouTube with Lauren Munt and weather with Tom Tiefertiller.
Thanks for joining us for First Alert 7 News on the CW, and thanks to those of you joining us live on our YouTube. I'm Lauren Munt, and topping our news tonight, 3 weeks after a plane crashed in Odessa, killing the 2 on board, the National Transportation Safety Board released a preliminary report based on their investigations. The report outlined the same timeline that we have previously shared here on First Alert 7, saying that the Cessna 550 struggled to gain altitude after it took off. Some new information we learned from the report is that a witness who is a pilot certified heard, quote, unusual noises coming from the plane just minutes before the crash. The report also says that the plane was retained for further examination and that the cockpit voice recorder was located and sent to NTSB's Voice Recorders Lab. You can find more information and read the full report up on our website. That's firstalert7.com. Now, it's important to note that this is all just from a preliminary report, and all of these details could change when the NTSB completes their investigation. And we will, of course, continue to update you if that happens. Turning now to some political news. Residents were able to voice their concerns today while enjoying coffee with Congressman August Pfluger. And even though it is election season, this event is not intended to serve as a political rally. Instead, it aimed to provide a relaxed and open setting where community residents can voice their concerns and ask questions that matter to them.
This is fun in the morning to have coffee. It's a relaxed environment, but people can still ask questions. I can still hear what the community is feeling, and to highlight a business, especially a new business, is always fun. And I happened to have breakfast. It was great. And so they're doing a great job, but we're also talking about important issues that are happening at the federal level.
Congressman August Pfluger was joined by many other local officials, including Representative Brooks Landgraf, who spoke about voting in the upcoming election.
I'm happy to say that voter fraud is not rampant in Texas. That's something that I'm proud of. However, there have been other states that don't have the same election integrity protection. So I don't want to sit here and stoke fear that there's rampant voter fraud in Texas, because there's not. At least we don't have evidence. There are some isolated cases, but I do think that we have to be vigilant in order to make sure that we keep it that way.
To hear more about some of the issues that West Texans addressed at today's town hall, you can head to our website. Again, that's firstalert7.com. Traffic lit for you now, and an update on the City of Midland's Vision Zero plan to reduce car crashes. The city got an $8.6 million grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation to fund the project. The money will go towards improving Lamesa Road and retiming signal lights that are in the city. The city estimates improving Lamesa between Business 20 and Gist Avenue will reduce total crashes by 618 over the next 20 years. Turning now to some oil and gas news, the Railroad Commission reports that from September 1st of last year to September 1st of this year, 1,012 orphan wells in Texas were plugged using state funds. The money to plug those wells comes from oil and gas industry revenue, including well plugging reimbursements, fees, and bonds. Developing story for you now out of Odessa. The police department is asking for your help in finding this woman, 21-year-old Ariana Rose Muniz. She does not have a car, and police report that she's about 5'6" tall and about 180 pounds. If you know where she is, you can contact Odessa Crime Stoppers. We're going to take a pause now and talk your weather forecast with meteorologist Sawyer McElroy. She joins us now in the Weather Center with more. Sawyer.
Good evening and happy Friday, everybody. Overall, we have seen a pleasant day across the region. Here's a look at our First Alert weather headlines. Cool and quiet as we head through the overnight hours and into our Saturday. We are looking at a gorgeous weekend ahead, and below normal temperatures are looking to continue throughout the end of the extended period, with a few rain chances sprinkled in throughout the period as well. For our hourly temperatures as we head through the overnight hours, about 71 by midnight, 68 at 2 a.m., 68 at 3 as well, down to 67 at 4, 66 by 6 a.m. And looking at Futurecast, we are looking to see those showers kind of rolling out of the area through this evening. Quiet conditions, mostly clear skies, and then coming up for our Saturday, overall mostly sunny skies with a few chances for showers across those higher elevations, but overall looking like a great day ahead coming up for our Saturday. For our weekend forecast, about 84 both Saturday and Sunday. Lots of sunshine as well. So if you have any outdoor plans, definitely a great weekend to do so. And there are so many events that you can head out to as well.
Thank you, Sawyer. It's Friday, which means it's time for some high school football. We've got lots of local games going on tonight. Let's start with a look at Odessa Compass versus Ira Ann. Ira Ann came into tonight's game with a 1-0 record on the season after beating Smyer 51-8 last game. The Braves were led by Tristan Griffin and new quarterback Prather Schneeman. As for Odessa Compass, the Cougars come in tonight's game after a 3-point loss to Sterling City. Last year was a strong defensive game between both teams that saw the Cougars winning 7-0. Now moving over to Midland, the Bulldogs are in El Paso tonight facing the Pebble Hills Spartans after falling to South Lake Carroll last Friday. Bulldogs head coach Thad Fortune has made it clear on what he wants to see from his team in Week 2.
Going into Week 2 with a veteran football team, I'd like to see a lot of the mistakes that were in our control cleaned up. So we still want to do the things we want to do every week as far as being physical every snap, running to the football, protecting the ball. Those will never change. But we've got to do a good job of recognizing mistakes earlier, getting those cleaned up, and then not repeating mistakes from Week 1.
Taking it over to Astound Broadband Stadium in Midland, the Legacy Rebels take on Euless Trinity. These two teams met in the playoffs last year, and the game ended with Legacy moving on and Euless going home. Rebel head coach Clint Hartman is excited to play Euless in his team's home opener because they provide a unique challenge, especially for the opposing defenses.
Their 11 are different because they're going to use all those they're like an NFL team. They're going to use all those personnel packages every game. And so you got to match those personnels. If they're going to bring tight ends in, you got to bring linebackers in. So I love the chess match. Their offensive coordinator and me are really good friends. We met through these wars. And last year, I give him a lot of respect. I mean, he sat there, we won in overtime, and him and his head coach waited for all the interviews to be over and shook my hand. And that's a lot of respect for those two.
In Week 1 of the football season, Euless grabbed a 3-point possession win over Houston's Strake Jesup. While the Rebels struggled to find traction on both sides of the ball, they lost 61-0 to Allen last week. Let's take a quick look at the scores that are happening right now. Euless Trinity beating Midland Rebels 35-21. Odessa High, they're losing to LBD Bell 16-13. Permian, they're tied with East Lake, 14-14. All of these scores and more can be found on our website, firstalert7.com. Also be sure to tune in tonight to the Blitz on First Alert 7 for highlights from all of these games and more. Plus, stick around on YouTube for the Blitz extended version, where our sports team takes an in-depth look at all of those games. Let's switch it over to the local baseball. The Midland Rockhounds have clinched their first playoff berth since 2019. On Tuesday, September 17th, the Hounds will meet the Frisco Rough Riders in a best-of-3 South Division Championship Series. Looking in the community now, in May, the C4 Impact Initiative for Greenwood was announced. The initiative was created by the C4 Athletic Club to raise money for a new athletic facility that's happening in South Midland County. The goal is to raise $10 million. And since May, over $150,000 has been raised. Last year, the club bought 5 acres of land in Greenwood to be the future spot of this athletic club. The $10 million fundraising plans, those were publicly announced in May to build on that land.
We are building an indoor sports facility out in Greenwood. We're going to have football field, basketball courts, or court sports in general, pickleball, batting cages, physical therapist office, kind of anything you can think of that surrounds around sports.
When that club is complete, they say it'll be a space for any and everyone in the community to come and enjoy. And mark your calendar, the Palette Club in Midland is a unique club for aspiring artists, and next week it's hosting a mural demonstration. Local artist Jerry Colosso Jr. will be painting a street mural. Jerry will be painting a mural on the Palette Club storage shed to show the community the process of what it takes to paint a mural. And anyone that comes to watch will be able to get involved by getting a chance to spray paint that mural.
To provide access, participation to the arts, and this is one way for them to do it. And hopefully somebody besides Jerry can take it and run and start doing other murals in our community to beautify our town.
Organizers are expecting between 30 to 50 people to come, and the mural demonstration, it's completely free to the community. This event is on Tuesday from 9:30 to 11:30. And something else to put on your calendar, the First Alert 7 Peanut Butter Drive. It's on September 26th. Help us fill a West Texas Food Bank truck with jars of peanut butter. You can drop off a donation at First Alert 7 in the Music City Mall anytime between now and September 26th. And happening this weekend, don't forget that the 34th annual Air Show is going on. The show will feature the military A-10 planes as well as aircraft from World War II. The Air Show is an opportunity for people to watch airplanes fly and inspire West Texans to fly a plane of their own someday. Gates open for the show at 9 a.m. on Saturday and at the same time on Sunday at the Midland International Air and Spaceport. And if you're looking for something else to do on Saturday night, the West Texas Symphony's opening night is this weekend at the Wagner Noel Performing Arts Center. This year, the symphony features 70 members, and their opening show, it's called American Stories. This season, the symphony will be performing a new program each month. And the first, that's called American Stories, like I just said. Maestro Gary Lewis says it's a magical experience for everyone who comes to see the show. You can buy tickets online or at the box office. Also this weekend, the Tall City Memorial Stair Climb will be returning tomorrow morning for its 7th year. First responders and civilians will be climbing up the stairs at Astound Broadband Stadium at 7 a.m. on Saturday to honor the people who lost their lives in the 9/11 terrorist attack. Then Saturday night, there will be a benefit concert at 6:30 at Centennial Park. All the money raised will go towards Professional Firefighters Association, Charitable Foundation, and supporting the local first responders benevolence fund. Happening Sunday morning, the Odessa Police Department is laying a wreath to pay tribute to 2 officers, Corporal Arlie Jones and Corporal Scott Gardner, who both died in the line of duty on September 8, 2007. The wreath will be on display from sunrise to sunset, and anyone who wants to visit the memorial can go on Sunday. Coming up, the world is on track for the hottest year ever. We'll tell you more about what this means coming next. In some environmental news, scientists with the European Climate Service have issued a new report warning the world that it's on track for the hottest year ever. Temperature tracking reveals the planet just witnessed its warmest summer since record-keeping began. CBS's Tina Kraus reports.
Millions have been sweltering as record heat waves across the globe have delivered the hottest summer on record. Folks in Phoenix are used to the heat, but the city has sizzled with triple-digit temps for 102 days in a row.
This continues a series of global temperature records that started more than a year ago.
Dr. Julian Nicholas with the European Climate Service Copernicus says the average global temperature this summer was just over 62 degrees, shattering the old record set just last year.
It is a clear sign that the climate is rapidly warming.
Climate scientists say unless countries reduce their planet-heating greenhouse gas emissions, extreme weather will only become more intense.
By a heat wave, tropical storms, some extreme precipitation, some drought.
In Sudan, flooding from heavy rains last month affected more than 300,000 people and brought cholera to the war-torn country. And across the world, people are dying from the heat as temperatures reach lethal levels in some spots.
Actions need to be taken urgently.
Experts say the torrid temperatures of 2024 will likely break one more record, making this the planet's warmest year yet. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
Climate scientists say while part of last year's record heat was driven by El Nino, the temporary natural warming of parts of the Central Pacific, that effect is gone. And while it may have been the hottest summer ever, we're moving into the fall season. Many Americans are now thinking about outdoor fall activities. One corn maze in Indiana plans for 10,000 visitors every weekend. And nationwide, there are about 5,000 apple orchards that open in the fall.
The past 3 years have been kind of difficult for the apples. So this year, with our apple crop being so good, we're super happy and we can't wait to share it with everyone that comes and visits this fall.
And of course, you can't forget about a fall favorite for West Texans, high school football. And like we talked about earlier, if you can't make it to a game, don't forget to tune in to the First Alert 7 Friday Night Blitz. That's after our 10 o'clock newscast. The First Alert 7 team has coverage from games all across West Texas. Those highlights will start at 10:15, and of course, they'll continue on the First Alert 7 YouTube after the show for an extended version.
We're looking at a quiet evening overnight and a gorgeous Saturday ahead. I'll have all the details and what to expect coming up after the break.
Now from the First Alert 7 Weather Center, here's meteorologist Sawyer McElroy.
Good evening and happy Friday, everybody. Overall, we've seen a pleasant day across West Texas and southeast New Mexico. Observed highs across the state today in the 80s and 90s. For us, we fared kind of on the cooler side with highs into the 80s for the Midland-Odessa area, 84 degrees, 83 at Midland International, up to 88 in Monahans and Wink, 80 in Alpine for today, 89 in Presidio. And I know we saw a few 90s along the Rio Grande. For our First Alert weather headlines, cool and quiet as we head through the overnight hours into our Saturday, where we have a gorgeous weekend ahead. ahead. Pleasant temperatures, lots of sunshine and quiet conditions, and below normal temperatures do look to continue throughout the end of the extended period. As we head through the evening, those temperatures going to be on the cool side, 71 by midnight, 69 by 1, 68 at 2 and 3, 67 by 4, 66 at 6. And here's a look at those lows under mostly clear skies. 56 degrees in Marfa tonight, 57 in Alpine, 64 in Midland and Odessa, 65 in Big Spring and Big Lake. Winds anywhere from about 5 to 20 miles per hour with those strongest winds across the higher elevations. Coming up for our Saturday, highs going to be very similar to what we saw today, into the 70s, 80s, and a few 90s along the Rio Grande, up to 84 for the Midland Odessa area. Coming up tomorrow, 79 in Marfa, 77 in Alpine, 89 in Presidio. Those winds anywhere from about 5 to 20 miles per hour as well. Looking at Futurecast, we're seeing things clearing out as we head through the overnight hours. Mostly clear skies, quiet conditions as we head into our Saturday, where we're looking at a lot of sunshine for our Saturday, but we do have the chance for a few isolated showers, especially across those higher elevations coming up tomorrow afternoon, evening, but the majority of us do look to remain dry. For our winds, we are going to see a little bit breezy conditions, like I said, especially over those higher elevations as we head through tonight and into our Saturday as well, but overall not looking too bad with those winds and looking to be out of the east and northeast. For our First Alert 7 10-day forecast, similar conditions coming up for our Sunday as well, about 84 degrees for that high, sunny and nice quiet conditions. Those lows, though, dropping into the 50s Saturday into Sunday, Sunday into Monday, Monday into Tuesday as well. The last time we saw lows into the 50s was back in May, so definitely going to be some cool starts to our days. But overall, like I said, we are going to see those temperatures continuing to be below average for this time of year, where our average high is about 90 degrees for the Midland Odessa area, warming them up slightly for the middle and the end of the upcoming week, and factoring in some slight rain chances as well. But overall, looking to be pretty pleasant for September.
Up next here at 9, the latest jobs report came in slightly under expectations. We'll tell you what that means coming up next. The latest job report came in slightly under expectations, but it's up from the previous month. Experts say all signs point to a cooling labor market that might be finally reaching some stability. CBS's Bradley Blackburn breaks down this report.
A late summer bounce is shining a little bit of sun on the jobs market. Labor Department data out Friday show the U.S. added 142,000 jobs in August, up from a revised and disappointing 89,000 in July. Construction tacked on 34,000 jobs, getting a boost from heavy and civil engineering work in the bipartisan infrastructure law. Healthcare added 31,000 jobs. Unemployment ticked down to 4.2%, the first dip since March.
The labor market is definitely in transition because we were so overheated coming out of COVID.
That shift was noticeable at this recent jobs fair.
There's almost an equal number of people looking as there was for jobs. So I'm seeing the pendulum really kind of swing back towards the middle.
You just got to keep grinding.
Editor Steve Sachs has been living off unemployment and is saving since May as he looks for work in production.
Work is a little scarce and I think it's slowly picking up, but I know I have colleagues that are still out of work and looking or just starting jobs.
This is the last jobs report before the Federal Reserve's big meeting in September, and it tees up the Fed to issue a long-awaited rates cut.
The time has come for policy to adjust.
Fed Chair Jerome Powell has indicated he's ready to act.
It is highly likely that the Federal Reserve will begin its rate cut campaign with 0.25 percentage point. I know a lot of people are waiting and hoping to see big, huge cuts. It's just not going to happen yet.
And while wage growth is ahead of inflation right now, it doesn't make up for the price surges that started in 2022, leaving many Americans to still play catch up. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
All right, a final check of our forecast before we leave you this evening. This weekend looking absolutely gorgeous. Those temperatures into the mid-80s, 84 Saturday and Sunday. Lots of sunshine and quiet conditions. Get outside this weekend if you can. Definitely much better than we saw last weekend. Those 80s continuing throughout the end of the extended forecast as well, but we are going to see some chilly mornings coming up over the next few days with those lows dropping into the 50s. But overall, not too bad for this time of year.
Not bad temperatures happening this week. Be sure to tune in to First Alert News at 10 tonight. Also, stick around for the Blitz. I know we talked about it a lot tonight. We're really excited. The local sports team has put together a great show for you for week 2 of high school football. That's all coming up after the 10 o'clock show. Stick around also. You're right here on YouTube. They'll be live for an extended version of that blitz. That'll be starting around 10:35. Thanks for joining us for First Alert News at 9 on the CW. Again, we've got more coming up tonight at 10.